All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to what should be another exciting race in the Hollow Knight 2021 All Skills Tournament. This race will be between homothety and Nat3rTater in the 1-2-2-1 bracket. Both of these runners are top tier 1-2-2-1 All Skills speedrunners, both having times in the top 20. Homothety has a PB of 51.44 and Nat3r at 52.44. So this should be a really close race.
All right, runners are counted in, so we just gotta wait on the restream delay here, and they'll be on their way. Yeah, with PBs within a minute of each other, this should be a really good race.
Yeah, and with runners of both their caliber, you'd expect a certain amount of consistency too. So hopefully we won't see
Absolutely.
any deaths putting someone way behind.
Hopefully no technical issues this time either. All right, here we go. Not too much excitement in this first section. There's some tight platforming. These runners will definitely show off all those little optimizations that a lot of lower runners just don't have down yet. Some tight turnarounds, some tight jumps. I expect to see, 50, 51, 52 out of both of these runners.
Yeah, homothety unfortunately gets the bad Vengefly positioning, but so does Nat3r. So I'd expect a mid 52 probably from them.
There's our sync. 52 for homothety, 53 for Nate. Pretty close. Definitely respectable race times.
And that right there is where you see how at the high level of speedrunning this game, it really comes down to stuff just like small turnarounds making the difference in time. Like how quickly do you jump off that platform? How like precisely do you do it at like right when you can? Because they had the exact same movement in there and homothety gained a second. And that's just where you see those top tier runners.
Coming up on our first RNG check of the run is this Gruz drop room. Ooh, homothety getting hit. Nate going through unhit.
Yeah, the Gruz drop is unfortunately a piece of RNG at the start of just about every Hollow Knight run. It's not too significant a time loss to get hit, but it's enough to be annoying.
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating. Clean double spike kill from Nate. Homothety misses it and gets hit in the process. Recovers pretty nicely though.
Yeah, the hit shouldn't matter too much for homothety, as you will get a pretty free opportunity to heal during the False Knight boss fight coming up. And I wouldn't expect to see him take much more damage before then.
Yeah, the biggest issue with the hit is just the freeze frames that it causes, so it does lose a little bit of time.
Yeah. Both runners will probably be going for Statue Pogo here, which is a deceptively difficult trick. But they'll both be consistent at it and get it.
Clean for both of them. Very nice. Coming up on False Knight, you'll see both runners take a dev-intended shortcut after the first False Knight cycle. This is something that you probably wouldn't want to do in a casual run because it does require a shade skip later. But for the purposes of the speedrun, it saves us quite a bit of time.
Yeah, and both runners will get similar, at least, false night patterns, so we won't see any time gain or loss because of it.
Yeah, similar patterns and similar geo amounts. So nice to see early in the race. The runners are now coming up on their first spell. We'll use this spell to leave this area and enter green path in just a moment. First, the game has to teach us how to use the spell, so we do have to kill what's called a Balder on the way. The Balder is also another big piece of RNG in this split. There's a 50-50 chance of getting a spit or a Balder every time the Balder spits at you. So hopefully we won't see any tourney records for the Balder spits, and we'll get them off quickly.
Yeah, it looks like homothety is 6 seconds behind grabbing VS. Thank you, Rixian, for the times. So this movement through mound is just going to be like what we've seen in the VS split leading up to this, mostly just quick turnarounds and quick jumps, trying to get every little bit of movement. You'll see a nice little trick where they try and get both planks and one nail swing there, which is rather precise. And homothety will get it. I didn't see if Nate did, and they'll come up to the Balder here. Homothety gets really bad Balder RNG. I think that was 4th spit.
Unfortunate. Each one of those spits loses around a second, so it's definitely a time loss that homothety didn't need. The runners are looking to pick up 6 hits of soul in this res room as they climb up towards green path. That'll give them enough for 1 fireball to do a quick kill on this Balder that you just saw Nate do, and then another cast so that they can do a fireball skip. The way this quick kill works is on this patch, you go off screen and then the VS bounces around and hits the Balder 4 times, so we don't have to actually shoot 4 spells at it like we did on the last Balder. Homothety missing the fireball skip, unfortunate. This is the quick kill is a trick that does not work on current patch.
Yeah, and homothety missing that fireball skip will put him behind probably about 3 seconds to Nate. Fortunately for him, that's the most lenient fireball skip to miss. You don't lose that much. But when he's already behind, I'm sure he's not happy about it.
Yeah, it's also different from the other 2 fireball skips. You're looking to reset your fall speed instead of get the momentum pushing you backwards like we do on this skip here that Nate just showed off. So because it's a little different, especially in a race setting when there's nerves and things, it can be a little bit difficult to pull off.
And they both do get the second fireball skip, which is nice to see. We won't see Eric the Squid.
Thankfully. Using Eric can be a little sketchy. Both runners nailing the 3rd fireball skip as well.
Yeah, so in this next room, the runners will be trying to get 8 or 9 hits of soul so that we can quick kill this Moss Knight. You technically only need 6, but most runners will get 8 or 9 just in case the double fireball kill that we just saw Nate pull off fails.
Yeah, and if you do get the quick kill, that leaves you with 3 hits of soul already to prepare you for the Moss Knights that we're going to come up on. It'll save you a little bit of time collecting soul in this room. You won't have to double hit any of the enemies. You can just hit everyone once and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, homothety unfortunately gets slightly worse Vengefly positioning than Nate in that room, and will lose a little bit of time there, but nothing significant. Nate gets good RNG on the Moss Knights because they both spawned on the left side.
Really nice.
Homothety does as well.
It is nice to see similar RNG between runners so that it comes down to skill and not RNG when races are probably going to be close like this one will be.
Definitely. So the goal for the runners in this Hornet fight will be to keep her staggered as much as possible and in one corner. They don't want those big jumps like Nate is getting because it's hard to chase her that way. Nate's scarily enough at one mask.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned, but I know Nate has a strong Hornet. Okay, he's safe.
Gets a great double to finish the fight and will survive. Yeah, neither of these runners getting particularly great Hornet patterns. Ideally, you want a bunch of short jumps from Hornet because those long ones can be very hard to react to optimally.
Yeah, if she ends up across the screen from you, you don't have dash yet. So if you don't have a fireball to hit her out of that stagger, it just takes so much time to walk over to her and hit her.
Homothety is 11 seconds behind coming out of Mothwing Cloak. So this is definitely still anybody's race here.
Absolutely. This is a fairly long category, so there's a lot that can happen between now and the end of the race. There's a lot of pretty dangerous areas. There's a lot of areas that are safe and can just lose you a bunch of time too. Not sure what happened with Nate's stream.
Like Nate might have got an infinite load, or his stream cut out.
His stream looks like it's up. Yeah, his stream is going. So it's probably just the restream.
Okay. So then we'll just commentate Homothety for now. Homothety goes for the upper route through the mushrooms here. It loses a little bit of time to taking the bottom route that any percent does, but gets you a little bit of extra soul, which some runners find a bit more comfortable.
There we go. Yeah, we missed whatever Nate was doing there, but they're doing similar movements here.
Yeah, both the runners are on their way towards Explosion Pogo, but before they do that, they will get a little bit of Geo from these mushrooms and the rocks they guard. This is an all skills exclusive bit of Geo right here, actually.
Nate somehow fell behind, but I'm not sure what happened to cause that.
Yeah, I'd say the best guess is probably an acid dunk somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, he's on full health, though.
Yeah. Ooh, Nate giving us Wee Pogo.
Homothety's struggling with the Mantis Pogo, unfortunately. He may lose the upper hand here.
Oh, but manages to save it with a nice damage tank off one of the other Mantises in the area.
Still losing time, but it was a very clean, or a very nice save.
You know, that'll bring the runners, though, to just about even. It looks like Nate might be about 3 seconds behind.
Yeah, 4 seconds behind, according to Rixian. And that's an example of how anything can happen, and the lead can flip just like that when we're this close to each other.
Yeah, it is a shame we didn't get to see whatever it was, though.
Yeah, losing 20 to 25 seconds, I really don't know what happened there.
Yeah. So the runners here will be making their way towards Shaman Stone, just showing off some nice clean dash movement through the couple rooms that we already went through before with only walking. On their way, they'll be gathering soul. They want 6 hits going into the Gruzmother fight. so that they can do a quick kill on her. Homothety has a slightly cleaner kill than Nate does. So I'll probably gain about a second there.
Yeah. Ooh, his kids got away from him, though. Not the best cleanup. Nate's struggling a little bit on the cleanup as well, though. Now you'll see the runners by Shaman Stone, which is the only charm we get in this run. It's pretty powerful. It makes our spells a lot more powerful, which is going to be important, especially once we get the Void spells like Shade Soul, D-Dark, and then at the very end of this streak. Definitely worth the time and the geo to get this charm. And then you'll see us set up for a Shade Skip, which is going to be our access to City, since we did not pick up the City Crest from False Knight.
Yeah, what's probably more important than the power of the Shaman Stone is that it makes the spells significantly bigger, notably Shade Soul, which seems to about double in size, and that allows for doubles and even triple hits in some situations, which
absolutely
have a huge damage impact.
I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Homothety's audio since he is ahead.
That's a good call. The runners here will be making their way through Blue Lake, which is basically just jumping and dashing. It's not quite as easy as it sounds to do perfect, actually. It's kind of hard to get the rhythm right, but nothing too exciting to commentate on there.
In this section, we're going to see the runners kill some husks to get their geo. The geo routing is pretty tight in this run. We need 800 geo before we get Dash Slash, which is coming up very soon here. So we get geo from all these husks here, and then we'll go kill Gorgeous Husk, which gives us 420 geo plus all the geo from the husks outside of their room.
Oh no, we just saw Nate have a bit of any percent muscle memory moment and went to the wrong row of husks for geo.
Unfortunate. Homothety looking really healthy on geo.
Yeah, normally you'll expect to have around 250 here, so having 269 means he has the option to honestly skip some geo somewhere, which he will skip those two husks that a lot of runners kill for safety geo. Wow, Nate falls in King Station. That'll lose him a few seconds, but he recovers pretty well.
Homothety's sitting at 721 geo now, so he will have to kill both rows of hoppers. But not having to kill those husks on the way to Gorgeous Husk probably did save him a little bit of time. The hoppers are one of the most efficient sources of geo in this route.
Yeah, because each hopper drops 16, and they will be in rows of 3. And with the quick fireball kills we do on them, it will happen very quickly.
Beautiful hoppers from Homothety. Sitting pretty comfortably at 815 geo, so that'll leave him with 15, which is a nice jump start on our next geo choke point, which will be King Station Stag for 300 geo. The rest of that geo we'll pick up in Sanctum.
Yeah, Nate's struggling a little bit more with the hoppers, but managing to get all his geo fairly comfortably.
Yeah, only about a 5 geo difference between the two, so we should see similar exits from Sanctum.
So the reason we pick up // here, as you likely know if you've watched any other runs in this tournament, is that 1-2-2-1 exclusively allows for lever skips, which is a little trick where you can hit levers through walls with your nail, and the / extends the range of your nail, allowing us to hit even more levers through walls. That'll allow us to get Shade Soul as well as skip some rooms in Sanctum.
Yeah, this is a nice benefit of this patch that we're running on. Current patch, this has been patched out. So instead of taking these shortcuts, they have to go all the way around and do things the proper dev intended way.
So here we're seeing a little bit of a divergence in the strategy for the two runners. You'll see Nate take the bottom route through this room, and homothety take the top route. The bottom route that Nate's taking is slightly faster, but you'll notice that homothety was able to pick up a couple more hits of soul on. Both runners make it through the fire tower very quickly and safely.
Yeah,
those
clean.
flying husks there can cause a lot of trouble if they end up in bad spots.
Nate getting beat up in the hallway, though. Sanctum is a place where it's very easy to lose health, so 3 health has me a little bit concerned.
Yeah, I'd expect
makes
to
any
see
choices to heal.
Heal after Shade Soul on the elevator down, probably once. He's going to want to preserve his soul as much as possible, so I'd be surprised if we saw him heal the full.
Yeah, I would see only 1 heal is what I would foresee. Ooh. Especially with missing that second fireball. Although he did get some...
Oh, no.
Ooh. He got some extra soul from this Soul Twister, the Spell Twister at least, or Soul Twister.
Yeah, so Nate might decide to do 2 heals here and go into the Soul Warrior with just a little less soul, or he might just opt to take the risk of going through the Twister room in Sanctum with only 3 masks, which should be safe for him, but would be a little risky.
Yeah, he might opt to grab this Soul Jar by this elevator that homothety just went up. We'll see what he chooses to do. Meanwhile, homothety at full health, it should be pretty safe.
Homothety showing off some nice double hits on that Soul Warrior. That's just about a textbook Soul Warrior kill.
Nate has not healed yet. He does grab the Soul Jar, though. Alright, there's our heal.
Definitely wasn't the best place he could choose to heal, but I'm glad he did it somewhere, because going into this next room at 2 health is a very scary proposition. Meanwhile, homothety is entering the Soulmaster fight. We will see both runners, I assume, going for the quick kill on Soulmaster. Quick kill in quotation marks, because he doesn't die instantly, but using the proper strategy, he will die extremely quickly, pretty much exclusively Shade Souls.
Yeah, what we don't want to see in this fight is a bunch of dives. Very nice from homothety.
Yeah, it's a very clean Soulmaster fight, with especially considering that he got not great RNG from the Soulmaster attacks. Homothety is going to show off one of these Soulmaster second phase quick kill strategies, which are very scary looking, but he manages to narrowly avoid them and get a very fast cleanup. Meanwhile, Nate has
got a nice spike kill on Nate's side. Those spikes do 50 damage, which is more than your Shade Soul does, so if you can get him on those spikes, that's a good, solid chunk of damage that you don't have to do yourself.
Definitely. Nate's going with a more vanilla Soulmaster kill. still going for some nice slashes to make it as quick as he can.
As our runners exit Sanctum, we're gonna see them collect Geo up until 300 Geo. Nate's a little low on Geo. Homothety's looking pretty healthy.
Yeah,
So we'll
Nate
see.
there showcasing a neat little trick, /storage, where if you open your inventory as you release your /, it'll actually come out on your next dash, and we use that to save a very small amount of time for that last lever skip there.
Nice land pogo from Nate too.
Yeah, very clean.
We are likely going to see Nate kill the husks in the spire, whereas Homothety can skip them if he chooses to. He might, yeah, he's going to go ahead and Shade Soul them anyway. Around 275 is what we're looking for as we go through the spire.
Yeah, Homothety is really safe on Geo. Almost has too much, which means he could have skipped some somewhere. Because this will be our last Geo gate in the route. Once, if you have the 300 for King Station, you have enough for the rest of the run.
Nate now about 32 seconds behind. Steadily losing in each split, but we'll see if we can make it up somewhere coming up. There's still a lot of RNG left in this run. 32 seconds is still really not much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, you never know. 32 seconds is starting to become a big lead at this level, but it's still definitely anyone's game.
Yeah,
And
32 seconds is something that can be made up at Hornet too if you get good RNG. But on the other side of that coin, if you get bad RNG at Hornet, you can lose just as much.
So the runners will be making their way to Crystal Peaks here, which is probably the most movement-heavy section of the run. There's no boss for the area, but there is a lot of rather precise cycle-based movement that the runners will be performing, as well as a couple optional damage tanks and a very long segment that they cannot heal during.
See if Nate's going to show off our early control down the well with a nail art. This first one can be a little bit tight, especially with load normalizer. Basically what we do is we charge a nail art, we release it, and then we dash. He does miss it. Ordinarily you would see a dash right after we release nail art, and that will give us early control. You'll see nail art early control showcased again after defeating Hornet 2.
Yeah, so this first room of peaks, nothing too special, just dashes. But from then on is where we start to enter the rooms with a lot of technicality. It'll be interesting to see if these runners decide to go for Pogax here, which is an optional trick that saves about 3 seconds. Homothety does, but misses it. And once you miss your first setup, it's kind of hard to go for it again. He has to go down and reset. So if Nate gets first try Pogax there, he will save a bit of time on Homothety. Not the 32 seconds, but probably 3 or 4.
Homothety getting God Pick, so you love to see it.
Yeah, God Pixel there is a very precise trick where the laser doesn't actually start at the hitbox of those crystal beetles. And Nate does get Pogak's second try, a bit quicker than homothety did. But
Good.
I was going to say, yeah, so God Pixel, the hitbox doesn't start until a little further away from the beetles, so if you have very precise positioning, you can just jump right through the laser.
Nate just misses it.
Yeah.
Peak is very cycle-based, so it's easy to take a bunch of unintentional damage here. But so far, both runners are getting through pretty cleanly. You saw homothety take an intentional damage tank for this cycle, for the faster cycle. And an underplat. Let's go.
Love to see it. Yeah, then this crystal heart room here, there is an option to do a damage or a damageless cycle. The damage cycle saves about 0.3 seconds and is a bit like more lenient to make. But the damageless cycle doesn't take damage, and the split health matters a lot. So a lot of runners do elect to go damageless, as we're seeing Nate do.
Yeah, Nate's going damageless. Nate mentioned right before the race that he learned damageless when he was learning 106. That's definitely a nice trick to know. A lot of runners never learn damageless because the damage tank cycle is faster, but when health is important, it is a nice thing to be able to do.
Yeah, very clean lasers and underplat from Nate. Homothety will get through the crushers a little slow, but safely.
Homothety saving the grub, which I don't expect to see on the other side of the screen.
I'd expect both runners here to be doing the dash-only dark room that homothety is doing. There are safe strats using Sea Heart to basically negate some of that darkness movement, but they are a decent bit slower than using just dashes, so most runners of this caliber will know how to do it with just dashes.
Nate did manage to make up 6 seconds in the Crystal Heart split, so maybe the start of a comeback.
Homothety having a little bit of trouble in mound here. If he takes one more damage, he is locked out of the early control.
Which he is at this point.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate.
Unfortunate time loss for homothety.
Assuming Nate is able to get the early control, that means that he will save, I believe it's about 7 seconds.
Yeah.
So that could be wrong. It might be closer to 5 on homothety here. That'll bring this lead a lot closer.
Yeah, and that's just for this skip alone. That's not counting all the shenanigans that were happening in Crystallized Mound. A lot of those failed platforms definitely cost time as well.
Yeah, Nate misses that spike pogo too. That is a really tight pogo to hit, because if you're too far left, you hit the spikes, and if you're too far right, you don't get the pogo. And it's a very narrow window.
Nate does have the health to pull off this animation storage. It'll shoot us all the way over to this wall. We'll take 1 damage. That'll hit us out of the animation with the hazard respawn, and then we're free to move even though this cutscene is still over us.
Yeah, and thankfully neither of the runners need to worry about the fact that they're at 1 mask here, as there's no other places for them to take damage before they will quit out after grabbing Dream.
The nice part about this route is we have Crystal Dash when we come through this Dreamer cutscene, which means we can just skip most of the platforms. Still a chance to fall, and each fall loses 7-ish seconds, but it's definitely a lot safer than, say, an 80% Dreamer cutscene.
Yeah. So both the runners will quit out as soon as they get the Dream Nail here, back to the Spire bench. Having obtained Descending Dark and the Dream Nail, they will be off to fight the Watcher Knights and absorb Valerian. This fight, compared to any percent, is not as difficult to complete, but still has a decent amount of variance in how you complete it quickly. because the Watcher Knights can get very differing RNG patterns that can make fighting them with Descending Dark very difficult. And we did see an underplat from both runners in the Dream sequence, I believe. Shout out.
Really do love to see it.
Nate gains 2 seconds on homothety in the Dream Nail split. Bringing the lead down to 32 seconds on homothety's part. Nate slowly picking up time, refusing to let this race go. Homothety getting somewhat unfortunate Watcher Knight's RNG, but handling it well and won't lose too much time to it.
Yeah, using some more Shade Souls than we generally see in this fight, but it gets the job done. That was a really nice fight, all things considered.
Yeah, it was really solid. You'll see top runners like homothety throwing some Shade Souls in their Watcher Knights fights to deal with some unfavorable RNG patterns rather than just taking the time loss associated with them. They can negate a lot of the problems in the fight.
Unfortunate RNG from Nate, from Watcher Knights for Nate as well.
Yeah, and that'll put this next set off cycle for him too, which will make them take a little bit longer as well, likely. This is about worst case scenario that Nate has. Hopefully neither of them roll away.
Alright, there we are. I think Nate's probably losing time here, but he is making it out safely.
Yeah, I had to guess that Nate lost at least 5 seconds on that Watcher Knights fight.
Yeah. Homothety's now heading into a set of 3 skips to get Isma's tier. There's a Spike Tunnel and 2 Acid Skips. For anyone new to the category, this is often one of the choke points for learning the category. They're pretty precise. They can be difficult to learn, especially the Spike Tunnel. I expect both of these runners to be able to do them pretty cleanly, though.
Yeah, for runners of this caliber, it's more of a question of, do I get all the skips first try than do I die there?
Yeah,
but there is still a lot of time to be saved or lost. On the splits.
Yeah, time is again our biggest issue rather than survival.
Seen an interesting C dash from homothety. I don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah, you usually see a C dash from like the platform just in front of the one he came off of. First try. Yeah, Nate unfortunately losing 14 seconds with that Watcher Knights fight.
Ooh.
I've never seen that happen before.
That was a very interesting fireball strat from homothety there, but unfortunately it didn't work out for him. It was
a little bit too high on the wall.
We'll get the second and generally considered harder acid skip first try though, and make an attempt at the worm early control, but they don't seem to be cooperating, and he will have to watch that cutscene. If Nate has a perfect set of Isma skips here, he could probably save somewhere in the realm of 10 seconds on homothety here.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good estimate. Nate doesn't have the soul for a fireball here, but Nate doesn't generally fireball here anyway. There's a small chance that the worm will hit you if you don't fireball them, but it's pretty safe.
Nate has a perfect set of skips, and it looks like the worm is on trajectory to hit him.
Very nice.
So this should bring him a lot closer to homothety. Probably make up for most of that 14 seconds that he lost on the Watcher Knights. course, we won't see all of that time save in the Isma skips itself. We'll see some of it in this Ancient Basin segment because of the early control.
The next skill our runners are going to pick up is our Monarch Wings. This is our double jump. We do have to fight a boss to get to it. Broken Vessel. There's a quick kill for him. You can make the fight pretty quick. But again, if you get bad RNG, you can lose time pretty easily as well. And then the Maulurks are also a little bit of an obstacle. You can get through most of them without taking damage. There's a little bit of RNG to them, but there's a strat to get through all of them except for that upper one, I believe.
Yeah, and homothety doing a fairly good job at getting through the Maulurks. Gets hit by one, but a lot of runners take an intentional damage tank at that one anyway.
Yeah, getting hit once is not bad at all.
Yeah, coming through with full soul and 4 masks is just about perfect for the Maulurk room. That's putting a lot of pressure on Nate to have a good one himself.
Homothety coming in with full soul. You'll see him kill all these little light seeds. The reason for that is that the fight doesn't start until all the light seeds are in Broken Vessel's head, and killing them makes that happen quicker. Misses one fireball, but he did get that double first off before the fight even started. What we're looking for here is the headbang attack, which we have not seen yet.
Yeah, he's been staggering Lost Ken out of the headbang. It's an unfortunate cycle you can get into with bad RNG or if you miss the initial quick kill.
Still a pretty quick fight for not having gotten that headbang attack at all.
Yeah, does a very good job at saving it, but will probably lose some time to Nate's fight here. Nate does a pretty good job in the Maulurk room too, takes 2 hits instead of 1, but 3 masks should be more than enough for him to take on the Broken Vessel here.
Nate opting to kill the light seeds with a Sea Dash instead of nail slashes. Also gets some nice doubles to start with. That's that headbang attack we want.
Yeah, the Broken Vessel gave Nate an extra attack before the headbang, it looked like, which is unfortunate. And did lose him a bit of time as he tried not to stagger it out of the attack, but definitely still a quicker fight than Homothety's. Showing off a nice swag C-dash off the door into the exploding wall. Meanwhile, Homothety is on his way towards Hornet 2. Arguably the hardest boss in the game. I feel like that's a reasonable statement to make.
Yeah, that's pretty unanimous among runners that Hornet 2 is the hardest boss in this run. She can also give you pretty bad RNG. She can parry your, not just your nail, but also your Shade Soul and your D-Dark. And if she does parry your Shade Soul or your D-Dark, that's a lot of damage that you're missing out on. You can lose so much time to parries.
As Rixian in the chat is pointing out, Nate lost 5 seconds to Homothety on the Broken Vessel split. So he's definitely going to be hoping to pick some time up on Hornet here.
I don't expect to see safety benches from either of these runners. Sometimes even the top tier runners will opt for a bench in a tournament, but I don't expect either one of these players to do so. We'll see if they prove me wrong.
No, yeah, both these runners are definitely so practiced in the fight that I doubt the idea of dying is even on their mind.
Yeah, especially with the race as close as it is. Taking the camp bench loses quite a bit of time.
Let's see how Homothety's Hornet 2 fight goes. Rather unfortunate pattern to start, but makes good work of it and gets some nice D-Darks in.
Yeah, we're looking for Shade Soul doubles and then D-Darks when she does her string attack, her needle throw attack. And then there's also some options to D-Dark her in a couple other places, but mostly it's that needle throw attack.
Mafia looks to be having a really good Hornet fight here. Lots of doubles.
Really
just narrowly avoided the parry earlier with the spell. I assume she's going to be dead in another spell or two only.
Nice. Yeah. That was a really nice Hornet fight.
Yeah, homothety is giving Nate no time to catch up there. Nate would need a just about perfect Hornet fight to save much on homothety there. Nate having a rather solid fight so far as well. Yeah, but unfortunately, that won't gain him much. Hornet will be down in a few more spells.
There we go. She was one nail hit away. Still a solid fight from Nate.
Yeah, I don't think he'll lose anything there, to be honest. No. That was great Hornet fights from both runners. Good RNG and good execution.
Absolutely. You'll see Nate do that nail art early control I was talking about earlier here. So we hold our nail art. In order to avoid going invisible, we can't release that nail art until Hornet leaves. And if you're watching closely, you'll see the knight rise up 1 pixel. Nate does not invalidate his run. You love to see it. If you release that nail art too early, you will be invisible, and that is an invalid run. For the cases of the tournament, it's just a 5-second penalty. But for leaderboards, it is not valid.
Yeah, so both runners here will be off towards Monomum, but before they do that, they will have to pick up the nail art Cyclone Slash. Unfortunately, it's kind of stranded all the way in the Papa Howling Cliffs with Motto. So we'll just take this bench in Dirtmouth and run up and grab it before quitting out. This is just a movement heavy segment here. There's not going to be a lot to talk about other than just the general optimizations between jumps. I don't know.
Nate did manage to make up 4 seconds in that King's Brand split. So if you can keep up these tiny little gains through every split, you may have a chance of fighting back here. I'd say the biggest point where there's a chance for time loss or gain would be Umu. Getting a 1 cycle versus the 2 cycle saves about 18 seconds. I know both these runners can do a 1 cycle, but there's a little bit of RNG involved too, with whether or not Umu gives you extra attacks. And then it's also pretty easy to make a mistake with the 1 cycle setup.
Yeah, for sure. And the 1 cycle setup can go very wrong if you make a bad mistake. You can lose even the 2nd cycle pretty easily. So Umu's a scary point for runners.
Absolutely. If the reason you missed the 1 cycle is because you fell off a platform or missed a fireball or something, that can very easily turn into a 3 cycle. If it's simply because something didn't double or you missed a nail hit, that one's a lot easier to make up for a 2 cycle.
Yeah. Amafi won't do the early control going down the well, which will give Nate about a 3 second of a time save, assuming he goes for it.
Question in chat about what category this is. This is all skills. So what that means is we have to pick up all the skills, which is all of our movement, all of our spells and upgrades, and all of our nail arts, and then kill the Hollow Knight at the end, since it is a full game run.
Yeah, so it's Cyclone Slash. The runners are about 40 seconds apart. That's about 2 Umu cycles if you want to measure it that way. So Nate definitely needs to pull some real good stuff to catch up here at this point, but it is still possible.
Yeah, for Nate to make up a big chunk of time here, he needs to get 1 cycle, and he needs Homothety to not get 1 cycle.
Definitely. This 1 cycle being the last real significant part of likely time loss or gain for these runners until the Hollow Knight fight at the very end of the run.
Yeah.
So Nate's really hoping for a missed one cycle from homothety here, I'm sure.
Yeah, after this, the biggest chance of making up time is a death, which we don't want to see from either runner, of course.
Yeah, Hollow Knight RNG and the fight can also have some stuff. Homothety is struggling to get up to the platform to set up Umu, but looks to have it. He looks a little low, though.
Oh, he got it.
But manages to get it. So at this point, Nate will just about need the one cycle if he wants to even have a chance at winning this race.
He needs a one cycle, and he needs to not get an extra attack. Just to keep even.
Nate's setting up Umu fairly low for the one cycle. It seems intentional, so I assume that's what his strategy is, but I usually see runners set him up a decent bit higher.
Looks like he gets it. Oh, no, not quite. Unfortunate.
This misses the one cycle. Umu was just a little too low for him to optimally get those nail hits in.
Sadly, this is going to put Nate probably about a minute behind homothety.
Yeah, missing the Umu one cycle loses about 20 seconds on average. I think closer to 18, actually. Which means that, Nate will be about a full minute behind homothety here. With that, it's pretty much only a death from homothety that'll lose him the race. Homothety showing off a nice little damage tank on that Uma there to get through the Uma flies without having to be knocked back or wait for them.
Yeah, and the damage tanks, there's no concern from the runners for taking a damage tank, because as you saw, we do take this bench here. It's not an optional bench, it is a required bench. Homothety's going to go get Great Slash, and then he's going to save quit back to that bench before getting rates.
Yeah, Homothety going for a nice little risky C-dash there, where depending on the Umu that you C-dash through is positioned, you can either get hit for 2 masks or go straight through it and save about 3 seconds, maybe? It's not that significant, so it's very risky. It saves more time the second time you do it, but the second time you do it, it's also way riskier because health matters a lot.
I don't believe either runner is on PB pace at this point. Got a 51.44 from Homothety and a 52.44 from Nate. Homothety's PB was in a race, so I don't have actual broken down splits for him. But Nate's monomin in his PB was a 39.40, and he is behind there.
Yeah, Nate showing off what happens when Uma has bad RNG and taking the 2 massive damage. Luckily, health doesn't really matter on this split, so all it loses is the time taking the damage takes. Really nice and clean movement from both runners through these rooms. This is one of those pretty much movement-only segments of the run, where we're just kind of going off to some random corner to pick up a skill that's stranded in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, very movement-heavy, and Nate's having a really nice movement through here, too. I say right as he falls.
Yeah, good recovery, though.
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite splits because there is so much nice movement going through here.
Yeah, the movement heaviness of this category is what makes it kind of difficult to see exactly how people get the times they do. And any percent, if you have a good time or a bad time, you can usually say, oh, my Watcher Knights fight wasn't great, or my Hollow Knight fight wasn't that great, because those are the majority of the time saves. But in this category, most of the time is gained or lost on just really tiny movement optimizations that you see these runners do, having been very practiced in it.
Yeah, definitely so much movement optimization. It's not uncommon for people who start this category to have a deathless PB and then later on get a PB with a death in it. Even though that death cost them time, their movement just improved so much that they could make up for it just on movement alone.
Homothety with a bit of an interesting strategy for these dart flies here. Not one I've seen before, but he seems to pull it off pretty well.
It's a little different, but still pretty quick.
Nate deciding not to go for the RNG C-dash at the last second and canceling it before taking the 2 masks of damage.
Good call.
So the split that homothety is on, the hair splits, one of the worst places to die in this category, but it's also fairly unlikely for a runner of his caliber to do so. You know, you could always hope for it if you want a close race, but I wouldn't expect it.
Nate's struggling a little with these squits. He's got full soul. I would have liked to see him use a couple more fireballs.
Yeah, that was definitely a bit of a messy squid arena. Yeah. He does come out with 5 masks, though, which is nice going into this segment, as you do have to take an intentional damage tank and then go through Dark Deepness.
Yeah, and this is a longer split, too. Not as long as, you know, our earlier splits where we were going through all of Peak and Dream Nail before going back to City. But this is a pretty long segment before we're safe.
Yeah, and as we'd expect, Nate lost 12 seconds at Howling Race there. And that puts him 1 minute and 12 seconds behind homothety.
Homothety opting for a D-Dark here for safe strats. The other option is to inventory drop. There's a spider down at the bottom that you may or may not get hit by. If you're quick enough, you won't get hit. But if you're a little slow, you definitely could get hit. Being on only 3 health, I respect that.
Yeah, a very clean Dark Deep Nest overall from homothety.
Here's a little dev intended shortcut that we were able to take on this route because we do have full movement at this point, minus our Shade Cloak. There's a little hole in the ceiling here. We don't have to sit at the trap bench. We can just go straight up to Hera. These Devouts are taken care of easily with a D-Dark and a Shade Soul.
Yeah, so all that's left for homothety here is a visit to the Abyss to pick up Shade Cloak and Abyssal Shriek. I couldn't remember for a moment. Like I said earlier, there's not really any likely death spots at this point. Nate's best hope of coming back would be for homothety to die during the sibling climb on the way to Shade Cloak, or to die to the Hollow Knight late into the fight, but both of those are rather unlikely.
Yeah, the sibling climb, your siblings do hit for 2 damage. So if you're at 5 health, You can afford to get hit. Ooh, you can afford to get hit twice and still be safe. Nate doing an underplat and giving us a heart attack at the same time. If a runner was to fall in Dark Deep Nest, your options are to save and quit way back at the last bench, or to climb your way out through Dark Deep Nest. So when runners have practiced that climb in the dark, or have a lot of rando knowledge, it's probably the better option to go ahead and climb out. But a lot of runners will just reset if they fall. So if they haven't practiced that climb, it can be pretty rough.
Yeah, so coming up on the Abyss here, the Abyss is a very optimized movement segment. Just about everything they do here is scripted, like to the pixel. These Abyss splits are one of those really sought after movement splits that you'll see people grind really hard for optimal times on.
Homothety going for the wall cling storage off that door and didn't quite get it. I suspect Nate will do the same. I don't think we'll see swag door from either runner, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have a question in chat that did any runners die during the run so far, and no, they have not, though Nate did lose about 30 seconds to an unfortunate stream crash. Seeing a really clean lighthouse climb from homothety, even with some rather unfavorable sibling RNG. The siblings spawn in the same place every time, but drift randomly. And depending on where they drift to, you can skip some platforms and just make some quicker movement to the top of the lighthouse. But they all went the wrong direction for them.
You'll see Homothety save quit right as he touches his toes into this little void pool. That's a pretty long cutscene, so we save time on our loadless timer if we just save quit and come back. You may hear an early dream nail for early control. Did not get one, actually. Well, it looked like he did, and then I didn't hear it. It doesn't save any time, probably RTA, but since our timer does stop during loads, it saves us a significant amount of time.
And Nate going for a different strategy than homothety during that fall, where you actually cancel your first inventory drop and drift to the right before starting the second one. It saves a little bit of time, but it looked like he did cancel his inventory drop a little too early. And I'm not sure it'll save him much in that case.
Nate having a much quicker sibling climb, it looks like. Ooh, does take damage once.
Oh no.
Ooh. Okay, he's safe.
Yeah, Nate had really great sibling RNG there, just unfortunately missed one of the pogos.
Yeah, just fell a little bit. Trouble. Siblings were there to catch him.
So having picked up Abyssal Shriek, homothety will be approaching the Abyss climb. This is probably the most technical movement segment of the All Skills run. So much so that it has its own IL devoted to it on the leaderboards. We'll see possibly and likely from homothety a lot of rather precise little pogos and jumps that won't save much time if he gets them, and will lose a lot to these bad hazard respawns that he's demonstrating if he misses them.
Yeah, the spike dunks can lose a lot of time in this section. The hazard respawns are pretty cruel, made worse by the fact that we rarely touch the ground. Nice triple spike.
Yeah. Homothety has a really clean second run at the Abyss climb here.
Here we go.
Nate'll have the opportunity to gain a little bit of time because of that spike dunk, but definitely not enough to take the lead back, unfortunately.
Yeah, Nate's only hope at this point is for homothety to die to the Hollow Knight, maybe even more than once.
Yeah, with about a minute of difference, Nate would need homothety to either die really late into the Hollow Knight fight, which becomes increasingly unlikely as the fight goes on, because the Hollow Knight does get weaker towards the end of the fight.
Yeah. Expect to see probably a 52 out of homothety at this point.
I think we might be on pace for a high 51.
Yeah,
If he
could
has
be
a
a high
good Hollow
51
Knight fight.
if there's good RNG. Should be. His PB is 51.44. I don't think we'll see quite that, but it could get pretty close.
Yeah, Nate unfortunately takes a spike dunk, but does do so at a better place that will lose less time than Homothety's climb.
Ooh.
Has a bit of trouble getting a wall jump off one of the platforms in the abyss, though, and seems to just be a little off tilt as he finishes his climb.
Yeah. And Nate probably hasn't done this climb in a while. Hasn't been running super hard lately. This is a climb that we just don't do in any other category or in rando or anything. It's pretty specific to all skills.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Homothety is having a really solid Hollow Knight fight so far, but is taking a decent amount of damage. Because of how quick this fight is, those are not two mutually exclusive terms. You will see a lot of damage tanking during this fight because of the aggressive nature with our attack strategy. And he gets the best RNG case, and that just about locks it down.
Yeah,
Yeah, and with that scream, skip, Homothety locks down the win. There's no chance.
Yeah.
GG's to Homothety. Great fight.
This is a really nice Hollow Knight fight.
Not quite going to be a PB for him, but
not quite. But it should still be a 51.
Will be within
a few
30 seconds of his PB.
Yeah, just 8 seconds from PB.
8 seconds.
It's a solid race time. I will go ahead and mark Homothety is done. We'll switch to Nate's audio.
Sounds good.
We'll let Nate finish up the run with his Hollow Knight fight.
Yeah, huge GG's to Homothety. 8 seconds off PB is absolutely insane for a race.
Incredible.
He isn't giving Nate anything.
It is nice to see the runners more than 30 seconds apart, just because those 30 seconds were lost to technical issues. It would feel pretty bad if they were only those 30 seconds apart.
Nate's starting to fight just a little bit too close to the Hollow Knight and taking a damage tank. It's definitely something I've done before. Runners just try to hug him as close as possible to make sure those shrieks hit, and sometimes you hug him a bit too much.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's a pretty easy boss for casual players, but when we use this shriek and we have to get real close and do it fast, you can end up taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, I'd expect to see Nate take a heal here. He decides not to, which is risky, but it might pay off for him.
Yeah, and at this point, he has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's watching the restream or not. There we go. We'll get a 53 from Nate, not bad.
Yeah, less than a minute behind his own PB as well. So that's really a great time for Nate. You can't say anything bad about that.
Not at all.
It really could have been his race had Homothety just been a little less optimal.
We would have seen a high 52, low 53 had it not been for that stream crash. So he would have also been within seconds of his PB. Still less than a minute from PB is still a very solid race time.
Yeah, GG to Nate. We will mark him as done and get him in here for the post-match interview.
type proper. Hello.
Hello.
There we go.
Hello.
GG.
GG's to both of you. Solid
Yeah,
races
GG's,
from
great
both of you.
race from both of you. Both of you guys finished within a minute of your PB. Homothety within 8 seconds, which is insane.
Yeah, Nate less than a minute from PB. Solid runs.
So what would you guys, is there anything you guys want to talk about specifically from your runs? Anything that stood out to you or that you wish you did better or thought you did great?
So I guess it goes without saying that my early game was completely terrible, all the way through to that 956 Mantis Claw or whatever it actually was. And I only ended up getting the lead. Yeah, 957.8 actually, but I only ended up getting the lead because of that really unfortunate stream issue with Nat3rTater. But in the end, I guess I had a really, really good late game to make up for it. I felt really good about that.
Yeah, that was a great late game.
Yeah, it was.
I kind of wonder if you didn't hit that spike during the Abyss climb, if that would have been PB by a second or so.
Very well could have been.
Yeah, I had about 10 seconds of time save on the last split. And I don't have a very good gold either, so it would have been close.
How about you, Nate? Anything you'd like to say about your race?
I'm not sure if Nate can hear us or if
we
can
we
hear
can't
Nate.
hear you.
Yeah, we definitely can't hear him.
We have some audio issues here.
Oh, let me check the audio. All right, Nate, I just reset your audio if you want to see if it works now.
Still
Alright.
not. See if we can get these audio issues sorted out. If anyone in chat has questions for either runner, now would be a great time.
Yeah, I guess the question I have for Homothety is, we saw you during your Isma skips. During the second skip, that fireball stall over the acid strike. Is that something you always do, or is that just a tourney swag strat?
No, I normally do it over the acid like that. It's kind of awkward though, but at this point I'm so used to it that it doesn't normally bother me. But I think this time I ended up doing the wall cling too high and dashing into the platform. So
Yeah, it was definitely an
yeah,
interesting strategy to see.
it ended up backfiring, and then I I decided to heal on 4 masks, which was honestly really silly, and then I got punished brutally for it because the worm decided to fly off into space. So it was a
got
very
you, Nate.
sad sequence of events.
Yeah, we just heard you, Nate.
Yeah,
So,
we got you in,
that's
Nate.
okay.
We should be able to hear you now.
Hello? Maybe?
Nope.
Maybe. It was working.
We got something for a moment.
Yeah. Nate does say he got Hornet 2 gold. So that, like, what we thought was a great fight was definitely a great fight.
Yeah, both runners had crazy good Hornet 2 fights. Very plain from both of you, though. Homothety did get an interesting starting pattern from Hornet.
Yeah, I had like a clean Hornet fight without too much damage, but it wasn't a very fast one. Like towards the end, I think I missed, a bunch of Shade Souls that could have killed her. So I ended up, losing a bit of time on that split.
Yeah.
Not a lot, though.
Nate's audio's still not working, but he says he did lose those 25 seconds in fungal to OBS issues. He says, good luck, homothety, in top 16. Hopes you do well. And also GG's from Nate.
Yeah, just really unfortunate that had to happen so early in the race. Because I was definitely behind at that point, no doubt about it. And I would have far rather, had to earn it back late in Crystal Peak. It would have been really neck and neck, especially with all the trouble I had around D-Dark. But, oh well.
Yeah, I was pretty concerned on that D-Dark split.
Yeah, it was a little messy. I went for the, that Crystal Pogo, but I wasn't quite lined up for it.
Yeah, it's so easy to take so much damage if you miss that one. You get wombo comboed so easy there.
Yeah, I went for a bad recovery. Yeah, there's like some backups you can do depending on where the Crystal Hunter spawns. You don't quite lose the full amount of time from going around and you pogo it instead, but I was kind of just indecisive. And so I ended up, getting the worst of all worlds and taking damage and awkwardly making my way up.
Yeah. But hey, even with that, the not perfect early game, and the Abyss Climb damage, you came really close to your PB, so congrats. That was a great race from you.
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of work to do before the bracket stage because compared to I think that top 10 is now all the sub 51. There are a lot of intimidating runners advancing, so I need to get my act together.
Yeah, it'll be a hard run through the top 16. That bracket's going to be real tough.
Yeah, those will be a lot of fun races. I'm looking forward to.
Oh, for sure.
So I guess with that, if we're not going to be able to get Nate in, is there anything you'd like to say to close off the interview, homothety?
Nope. I mean, yeah, not much to say other than what we covered, I think.
All right.
Awesome.
I think we'll be wrapping it up then. I think we have one race tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, and then we've got a bunch of races coming up for the weekend. So we've got content for you for sure.
Yep. So GG's to both the runners. It was an awesome race to commentate. I'm sure it was a really fun race to watch for everybody.
Yeah,
thanks, Kali, for being great co-coms, and thanks to chat for being a bunch of cuties.
Yeah. Thanks, Spicy, for co-coms. GG's to our runners. Thanks for the race. And we will see you all very soon.
Have a nice day, everybody.
Bye.